So where do you draw the line? Dr. Mark Hansen from the University of Montana says that our bodies hold intrinsic value.
Last year, I moved to Western Montana after living in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. By December, I was constantly tired. Even after I slept 8 hours, I could barely wake up, couldn't work out, I gained weight, and had more headaches than usual.
Good evening, Mike and Jill. We're at the Higgins Avenue Bridge where a small group of people have already started gathering near the Wilma. They have posters and flowers. They are hoping that at the stroke of 6, they will drop nearly 1,000 flowers off the bridge into the water. Events like this one are really about having fun. There's no pressure. It's all about empowering women. The votes are still being tabulated. One of the most watched races in the Flathead is District 1. These girls have more energy than many 25-year-olds I know. I think the worst part about ice fishing is having to bait your hook. These are maggots. And once you put them on, then you're ready to go. I just lost a maggot. Withdraw the money and you're on your way. Coming up next, we'll tell you what's in the water and how you can avoid it. Firefighters are super happy because they got themselves a new ride, $350,000. That's a steal, they say. But they are still gathering, they're bringing their flowers, and they are hoping that the Missoula community will join them in doing that. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tiffany Murphy. More details emerged today in the town of Libby after a tragic plane crash. It's a problem that many college students have, a lack of money. Katie Hyatt is a third-year nursing student at the University of Montana. She works part-time, goes to school full-time, and gets money for donating plasma twice a week.
Really for my fun money, if I want to, go to a movie or dinner with friends, go out. It's just nice to have that extra there so you can have fun.
But as a society, is it ethical to receive money in exchange for saving another's life? Hyatt says she's had the conversation with friends, and with her medical background, she sees it differently.
Some of them are a little questionable about it, being like, you're kind of selling yourself. But at the same time, that's not the whole picture. I think you need to look at it as you're donating your plasma for these people that need it.
So where do you draw the line? Dr. Mark Hansen from the University of Montana says that our bodies hold intrinsic value, and selling anything that comes from our being violates that.
There's a long cultural history in many cultures, of using your body to make money. I think, however, in the West we have a particular moral repugnance to using the body to earn money.
What if we take that a step further, from selling plasma to selling something that's even more you? Your eggs. Dr. Hansen says intelligent, attractive young women are the targets of ads like these, promising thousands of dollars for their time and their seed of human life.
I saw the same thing in the Yale Daily newspaper, $50,000 from a law firm for a woman who had a certain ACT score, a certain height, a certain look. Right, I mean, that in essence, looks more like you're turning people into products.
Stephanie Frickleton with Pacific Northwest Fertility says that's not the case with her IVF clinic.
We pay our donors a flat rate. It doesn't matter if they're a massage therapist with 2 healthy kids of their own, or if they're a PhD engineering student.
And at the end of the day, she says all the future parents really care about is having a healthy child.
We have a 26-year-old breast cancer patient whose ovaries were damaged by chemotherapy, and she's recovered and has a full life ahead of her and her husband, and someone is willing to go through the process of IVF.
But Dr. Hansen says whether it's plasma or eggs, if it's that important, we should donate because of an altruistic purpose without being compensated.
Attitudes probably are changing because we simply live in a culture that increasingly tries to commodify everything. And I think the more that you do that, the more it sort of erodes the boundaries whereby we say, no, this should not be commodified.
On special assignment in Missoula, Tiffany Murphy, MTN News.
I am 98 plus.
And you're proud?
Yes, very. I'm glad to be alive.
Iris Regan is an outspoken, witty, and quick on her feet 98-year-old.
4, 5, 6, change.
When she moved to retirement community Clark Fork Manor, she had some free time, and she knew she wanted to stay active.
I'm not going to just sit here and watch TV. I got to find something to do. So I asked the administration if I could start an exercise class.
And over, down 2, over 2, up 2, over
2, down 2.
And it became a hit. Many of the ladies in class that are bending, twisting, and punching are over 80. Even 99-year-old Lorraine keeps up.
We used to have it 5 times, but then I was going with a fellow by the name of Rudd Jennings who lived here, and I thought, Iris needs a little day for herself, you know.
Getting old isn't for the faint of heart. Aches and pains can be a daily problem, but according to Iris, if you don't move it, you lose it.
Forget it. Forget it. If you say you're okay, even if you're not, it helps. Even if you're not okay, smile and say, how are you today?
She says she doesn't have time to swap stories about aging.
Some people hesitate to ask how you are, unless you have a lot of time.
But they have lots of other stories to share. Each of the women came to this retirement community after lives of serving their family, and in some instances, their country.
I became an electrician, so I wired the Liberator bomber, the B-24s. So I was Rosie the Riveter, not a riveter, a wirer.
And when the ladies aren't doing leg kicks and stretches, many are exercising their minds, crocheting and knitting.
I think this is a great way to get together and find things in common that we can do, and it's just keeps us on our feet.
Each month, this knitting group sends well over 100 baby hats to Community Hospital, so each newborn will have a special gift. Getting older doesn't seem that bad when you see how much fun these gals are having.
A lot of people think, and I know all of us do, that I'm never going to, when you see someone 80 or 90, you don't even think of yourself as ever reaching that age. But it does come.
These women have become best of friends, sharing the laughter of memories, creating new ones, and reveling in the opportunity to make a difference, whether it be teaching a class or knitting a hat. Now you might wonder if this is a women's only retirement community. It's not. The men are simply outnumbered. But that doesn't stop a little romance from happening. This month there was even a surprise wedding when 2 of the residents were married. In just a matter of seconds, a quiet drive home turned into a nightmare. Antonio Valencia was on his way home, driving through Kalispell on Highway 93 when a vehicle started tailgating him. Valencia tapped his brakes, and that's all it took to put the car's driver and passengers in a fit of rage.
People's anger gets the best of them, and a very minor traffic violation or traffic situation turns into a confrontation that can be very hazardous.
For nearly half an hour, the vehicle followed Valencia. Not knowing what to do, he decided to drive to a place he knew would have surveillance cameras, the Ferndale Market gas station. But Sergeant Jim Sanders says that's when it got much worse. Police say 18-year-old Ryan Horn, 20-year-old Gage Maurer, and 19-year-old Andrew Nelson got out of their car and started beating Valencia with a 9-iron. Police say they kept hitting him until the golf club broke, shattering Valencia's vertebrae.
I do want this guy to be charged. He shouldn't be able to go through life and, get a free pass on stuff like this. This guy's swinging a golf club at my brother's head, and it broke over his neck. So I look at it, this guy's had no regard for my brother's life.
Like, such a big change. It's so sunny, so pretty, so nice, to inversion almost immediately as soon as fall hits. So I definitely noticed a big change, especially living in a house with 3 other people. You kind of get to see their moods change rapidly.
Vitamin D is an important fat-soluble vitamin that we can get both through the sun, our exposure to the sun, and also some foods that we eat. And vitamin D is so important to bone health, and also a number of factors in our bodies are dependent on vitamin D.
Last year, I moved to western Montana after living in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. By December, I was constantly tired, even after I slept 8 hours. I could barely wake up, couldn't work out, I gained weight, and had more headaches than usual. I went to the doctor, and after a slew of blood tests, we found out the answer was simple. My body was craving vitamin D.
Vitamin D deficiency or insufficiency can be a tough diagnosis to find. Sometimes it's a little bit insidious in its onset, and so that's why it's important that if you are just not feeling quite yourself, it's important to talk to your doctor and see if you can get tested or checked for that.
So can a simple vitamin have that much of an effect on your body?
I work for a doctor, and he actually gave them to me as like a birthday present, and I actually notice a difference. I feel like I'm not as tired, and I feel like even though the weather is changing now, I'm still kind of staying like my upbeat self, which is nice.
Why do many people have vitamin D deficiency during the winter? You can blame it on the lack of sun.
the way the sun angle hits places across the globe, for example, it varies by location, time of day, and also the season. So like if you think, for example, if you're on the North Pole, the sun angle in the middle of winter is going to be extremely low, so therefore you're not going to get a lot of daylight, you're not going to get sunburned or anything like that.
Vitamin D is also known as the sunshine vitamin because when exposed to the sun, our bodies synthesize it in the skin. According to the National Weather Service, last year during the month of December, Missoulians only got about 2 sunny days. Compare that to the sunniest place in the United States, Yuma, Arizona. They saw 17 sunny days. But imagine if we lived in Barrow, Alaska, with only 4 sunny days, while the rest of the month of December is dark. Gillian Ellison says her and her roommates aren't worried. They have a plan this winter.
This year, we're going to try and be more festive, maybe decorate the house actually, put more Christmas lights up, sleep more, exercise more.
On special assignment in Missoula, Tiffany Murphy, MTN News.
The teaching helps.
But that wasn't the case during this fishing expedition. The women had 5 hours of classroom activity before our lines went in the water. Events like this one are really about having fun. There's no pressure. It's all about empowering women and learning a new sport. For many of us, it was our first time ice fishing. Each had different reasons for doing it, some because they wanted to get out of the house, others to help their marriage.
I hear my husband talking about ice fishing all the time, and I wanted to learn something about it so I could relate to him when he's talking about it.
Hold them upside down, belly side up.
Belly side up.
There you go.
They learn the independence that they can go out and do anything they want in the outdoors.
It really was a no-frills weekend, and that's what many liked.
This is a lot easier than I thought it was, and I haven't caught any fish yet. But the nice thing is you don't need a lot of equipment and you don't need a boat, and it's handy.
But some high-tech tools were used to see what was going on under that ice.
Oop, he's gonna look us right in the eye.
And while we were having fun, even though we weren't catching fish, there were a few complaints.
The cold thing, but we live in Montana, so I guess we gotta be used to that.
She get. On special assignment near Big Fork, Tiffany Murphy, MTN News.
It's crazy. It doesn't seem like something that would happen in Montana at all. We just don't have crime here.
National attention on the Whitefish neighborhood after an award-winning television host is murdered. Good evening to you. I'm Tiffany Murphy. More details are emerging tonight after a shooting claims the life of a nationally known hunting show host. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us today on this cold, wintry Monday morning. Right now, we're going to throw things over to Russ Thomas. A winter weather advisory is in effect for much of our viewing area until 11 p.m. tonight. Russ joins us now with more. Russ.
Yeah, and I've been watching the snow rate over the last hour or so.
An Arizona man is dead after a single vehicle accident on Highway 93 just outside of Whitefish over the weekend. Montana Highway Patrol says the accident happened at the intersection of Highway 93 and Commerce Street around 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning. A 27-year-old man from Flagstaff, Arizona was traveling northbound. He was approaching the flashing yellow light when, for an unknown reason, he drifted off the road to the right and struck a traffic signal pole. MHP says speed was a factor. It's unknown if alcohol played a role in the incident. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The search and rescue team returned to Swede Mountain at dawn this morning to recover the 2 men's bodies. The official cause of the crash will not be known until the National Transportation Safety Board finishes their investigation. Libby residents had to dig themselves out of their homes this morning. A steady snowfall began Wednesday evening and continued through the noon hour in the northwestern Montana town. Residents traveling Highway 2 found roadways snow and ice packed, but most were cleared by 3 o'clock. Let's check in with Aaron Yost to find out if more snow is in the forecast. Aaron. A 42-year-old Jefferson County man is charged with several felonies for allegedly waterboarding 4 young children, 2 of them his own. William Province was arrested Tuesday night when he got off an airplane in Helena from a trip to Alaska. According to the affidavit, the children are ages 9 and up. Province allegedly subjected them to a water torture type technique used in the military that simulates the effects of drowning. The affidavit also states Provence's girlfriend attempted to stop him. That's when court documents say he held her arm behind her back so tightly that he broke her wrist and 2 fingers. He's in the Jefferson County Jail tonight on a $200,000 bond. Wednesday, Mike Chilinsky was sentenced to 5 years behind bars for 91 counts of animal cruelty. Today, the Lewis and Clark Humane Society told us what's next for the Malamutes. Director Gina Weist says the Humane Society is still caring for 170 dogs, and they will now find homes for every single one of them. She says this is really a great victory for the community and for the animals.
Yes, as far as setting a precedent, this is the longest jail term that anybody in an animal neglect case in Montana has had. So I am hoping that this sends a very strong message to other kennels that are here in our community, backyard breeders that are here in our community, that our courts are not afraid to sentence you.
Weiss says the dogs will need special attention. Most of them aren't good with other animals. They will be spayed and neutered, but none of the dogs will be euthanized. That's great news. Great Falls police are investigating the possible poisoning death of 3 dogs. Officials say they responded to a call in the 1800 block of 5th Avenue North on Wednesday morning when they found that there were 2 dead dogs in a backyard of a home. Then later in the afternoon, they were called back again for another dog that was laying in a neighbor's yard. While the appearance of the animals and their surroundings didn't seem suspicious, they are looking into claims the pets may have been poisoned. We spoke to neighbors today who say they believe the dogs may have eaten contaminated sausage. One resident says he had heard a man with a dislike of the dogs bragging about it beforehand, but officers say it'll take some time before they know what caused the deaths. A survey taken by the Columbia Falls Police Department has officers reevaluating the way they enforce the city's cell phone ordinance. Reporter Laura Wilson spoke with law enforcement to find out what the survey revealed about those who still talk on their cell phone while they're behind the wheel.